It shows you're alive now, buddy.
Hey guys, welcome to the Sandro Linux Community Podcast. It is the 24th of November, and if you're watching, hello everybody. This is, people who are watching the stream right now, welcome. We need to actually start the recording, which is the second thing that I do. So let's do that now. Hey guys, welcome to the Sandro Linux Community Podcast. It is the 24th of November. It's a Friday, as it is every time we do this podcast. So why don't we get into some of the news? But one of the things that we're doing today is actually covering some Black Friday deals. So, of course, it is the week of Thanksgiving as well as Black Friday. So, we'll cover some deals from the UK, some from the US, and we'll also cover one from Canada. So, starting off with the UK deals. So, Currys is selling the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE 5G for £349, and that is apparently down from £699, so that is quite a big saving. And yeah, there are still some retailers actually retailing it at £699, so this is a pretty good price. And this phone is pretty decent. You might not get as much software support as if you went with a newer device. But it's definitely a good option. It's at a good price here. So yeah, definitely something to check out if you were looking at this phone.
Oh, looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so, some good savings there. I was looking through stuff. I saw a lot of very small amounts being knocked off of stuff, and I thought, that's not really much to talk about. But this was actually some decent savings. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to another one where the price has been knocked down on both Currys and also on the O2 shop. So if you want to buy it directly from... Not directly, what am I talking about? From a phone carrier. So, of course, O2 is a mobile network here in the UK. However, if you buy a phone from O2, not on contract, outright, pay as you go, then you won't actually be locked in to O2. So it will come it will come unlocked, effectively. So, you won't be locked down to the O2 network. And as you can see here, it costs the exact same if you go to Currys or if you go to O2. So on both retailers, it will cost you £600, so £599.99. So that's down by £200. So that's quite decent savings. And yeah, it looks like a pretty good phone. Of course, it's one of the Razer phones, so if you kind of want that more kind of modern phone which can fold, then this is a good option, and this is a good opportunity to buy a one of those models. So yeah, those are the deals for the UK. Anything you wanted to say? Mark, I hear you're making some noises that sound like you might speak.
Look interesting. But that's the thing, though. I guess they're only available in the UK. But, I mean, I would not be surprised. They're probably got, like, cool, Best Buy deals and stuff like that, too, for cool phones like that.
Talking of Best Buy deals, we're going into the US section. Going to bestbuy.com here. So we're not covering phones here though. This one is actually a MacBook.
Hmm.
So Best Buy are selling a 15-inch MacBook Air with the M2 chip, 8 gigabytes of memory. So not a lot there, but that's the baseline when it comes to memory, and 256 gigabytes of solid state storage. So that's going for $1,049, and that's down by. You'll save $250 there. So that's pretty decent savings. If you buy this directly from Apple, you'll pay the full price. So if you're looking for a Black Friday deal on a MacBook and you're willing to deal with that slightly lower amount, slightly less memory, then you could be looking at this as a potential option. You just gotta act quickly, I guess, because this deal will end. I'm not sure when this deal is ending. Some end like sooner, some end slightly later. I'm not sure what the US convention on when Black Friday sales should end is. But yeah.
Uh,
Do you know?
Usually Black Friday itself, but I got a question for you since I guess you're in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys also have Cyber Monday?
In a small sense, we have Prime we have Prime Day as well, because it's Amazon, everywhere in the world. Um, so yeah, so we have a bit of Cyber Monday, not as much as Black Friday though. Black Friday is definitely the main event when it comes to UK, spending on deals. Yes,
Yeah,
nowhere near
because that's
as
like
big.
the whole like Black Friday usually starts late Thursday. That's an excuse to get people to go out there and all that. And yeah, I think Cyber Monday is just an excuse to keep the deals going. Or if you missed out
Yeah,
on so and so stuff on Friday, we still got deals for you and all that kind of junk.
yeah. But yeah, so uh, if you're looking for a MacBook here, this is a pretty good deal. Although, of course, 8 gigabytes of memory, not the best for some people's workloads. But if you're looking for a MacBook and you don't really care about the amount of memory, you're doing some casual tasks, you're browsing the web a bit, maybe, editing up some documents, you should be able to use this laptop just fine, and a good price. There's a good price on it as well, by Apple standards. Now,
Hmm.
moving on to one of the Amazon deals. So there's two Amazon deals for the US. So apparently, the Roku Express 4K Plus is being sold with a 38% discount. So it's going for $24 and 97 cents instead of $39 and 99 cents. So that's a bit of a discount, not as big as some of the other discounts on this list. But of course, if you're looking for if you're looking for a TV stick, maybe you've currently got one of those TVs that don't have smart functionality. It's becoming rarer and rarer these days, but there are still those cases out there. And if you just want some additional apps and you like what Roku has to offer, so if you've looked through their app catalog and you find some of the stuff appealing, then this could definitely be a good buy if you're in the US. Do you have a
Hmm.
Roku? Anybody here?
I sort of do, but it's like a TV that has Roku already built in, so I guess it's kind of different.
Is it a TCL?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, TCL have long had a partnership with Roku when it comes to integrating it into some of their budget TVs. Personally, I haven't had any dealings with Roku, but I'm pretty sure they're a decent streaming platform. So yeah.
Yeah, I just checked my TV right now. It is TCL. Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so moving on to the next one here. So there's the Kindle. No. Oh
But
no. It's out of
it's gone.
stock. It's out of stock.
Ooh.
It's already gone.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Well,
everybody. If you were looking to buy a
as
Kindle Scribe,
how dang it, Sandro.
oh dear. In the time it took between about 50 minutes ago and now, they're out of stock. So, I'm
but
sorry,
as a
guys.
thing with Black Friday, you better hop on that stuff real quick because they fly, man. They fly.
Yeah, and apparently he even had a
Well, I
climate-friendly
can tell you
pledge.
one Black Friday deal that's not out of stock.
Oh, what is
9
that?
millimeter, 124 grain ammunition from Palmetto State Armory for $26.99. The same price as if you're buying 1,000 rounds of it.
Alright, so if you're in the US and you can legally buy that, then you can, if you want to buy that, I'm sure that's, a good purchase. But moving on to the Canadian stuff here. So one thing from bestbuy.ca, the Asus VivoBook 15. So of course it's 15.6 inch. So, obviously by the 15 in the name, it kind of signifies the 15-inch thing. But this is, of course, a Intel-based Windows device, so that's a bit different from the MacBook. So if you're in Canada, you can save 230 Canadian dollars on this laptop. So it's a decent Windows device with 512 gigabytes of storage, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a Core i5 processor. So, yet again, this has a pretty low memory. However, the kind of people this is aimed at aren't really doing that much memory-intensive stuff. They're probably not gaming. They're probably not video editing. They're probably not coding. Who knows what people's use cases are for these devices? But I think, the target audience will be fine with this sort of device, and you can save some money, so make sure to jump on that. In fact, be somewhat quick. I mean, you've got 6 days actually, so you can buy it in the next 6 days unless they go out of stock, and then just like the previous item, you won't be able to get it anymore. So be quick.
$2 US.
You could ship it into the US, I'm fairly sure. That might be an idea if you live on the border, I guess.
You don't get that joke, do you, Sandro?
So, I didn't hear what you said, Farmer Josh, I'll be honest. Can you say it again?
I said that's like saving $2 US.
Oh, yeah, the conversion rate, the Canadian dollar is not the strongest, but, yeah, it's still a pretty good deal on that laptop. Now, unless anybody's found any deals they want to throw into the chat here, I'll just check that nobody sent me any deals. So we'll move on unless anybody has anything to say.
I can't think of anything because the ones I usually check out when I want to do Black Friday stuff is Best Buy, and I think you already covered that.
Yeah, so Best Buy had some pretty good offers this Black Friday. If you go on the Canadian page, there's a lot of stuff. In fact, it's a lot more confusing layout on the Canadian page. I mean, there's all of these things saying incredible deals, amazing savings. It's like, how do I find things? Anyway, so clearly they're trying to overwhelm you a bit with the with all of the different offers and saying you'll save money here, you'll save money here. Maybe to get you to buy all of the stuff, because that's of course what they want you to do. But yeah, there's some decent savings. You just have to look out for them. I mean, I don't know why I've just clicked onto the scooter section here. Not really relevant to our podcast. But yeah, there's some decent deals on here. You just have to
Ammunition is technology.
Yeah, I mean, it is technology, especially if it's an e-scooter, then I can argue it even further that, that's kind of integrating some technology into it. I mean, scooters are a
The
form of technology.
self-contained metallic case was quite a leap in technology, Sandro.
Mm.
I mean,
I'm sure GameStop probably's got like Black Friday sales. They gotta do something. I remember the only reason I even got to buy a PS4 because these consoles are just too damn expensive nowadays. There's more life important things to buy than a fucking game console. But the only reason I got to buy a PS4 was a Black Friday deal a couple of years back. So there should be some deals there. Like I don't know,
I see a
cut a
deal.
couple of bucks off the PS5
I
or
see
something.
a Canadian deal here for Canadian viewers for NHL 24 on PS4. So I don't know if this is a good deal. I don't know the reference, but it's apparently $44 Canadian. So basically $45 Canadian. So I don't know what the actual price of NHL is in Canada. I only know what the UK prices for these games are. And of course, with the currency conversion in Canada, it wouldn't be surprising if it was a bit more expensive. So, I can't tell whether this is actually saving $35 or whether Best Buy are just, saying a way higher price than, you would actually pay from anybody else. So, if you're a Canadian viewer, maybe you have an idea about the price of NHL. Maybe somebody can look it up for me while I'm doing this. But I think this is a decent deal. And if you're a Canadian viewer, then you can comment on the stream. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You could even come into the chat and say you're wrong. But I'm not totally sure on the Canadian prices for games. Is that reasonable? Do any of you know? I mean, compared to US prices, do you know what the US price for like NHL is?
No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
I'm looking at GameStop. They got
Nothing,
like
don't
consoles,
get
but only like about 20 or so bucks less. It's like wow, instead of paying $4.99 for a PS5, you can pay $4.49 instead. Oh, where's my wallet? Like
yeah. Some of these deals, like I'll show the audience here. Some of these deals are not really spectacular. I mean, there's some decent ones here for like Samsung TVs. You can see this one. These are some pretty decent deals, but then you get down to the small things. I mean, not GameStop. Best Buy is slightly better when it comes to not putting deals on that are just really slim amounts. But if I go on to like Coe's in the UK, let me go on to Coe's. Let's just find the Black Friday deals here, and you
I do
can
want to
see.
say something funny though. I don't know how's it going for you guys in the UK, but here in America, them groceries be going higher and higher. So I seen people joking like, hey, Walmart, we got enough TVs. If you want Black Friday deals, get the price of eggs back down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would. Yeah, in the UK, there's been some serious cost of living issues. So yeah, so some people would definitely like to see something like that, but not in the consumerist kind of buy lots of stuff mentality of Black Friday.
But yeah, that's a good idea. You should also check Walmart. I'm sure there's a Walmart in the UK, and see what Black Friday deals they got regarding like TVs, phones, electronics, tech stuff.
We used to almost have a Walmart here. I mean, it's called Asda, and it was owned by Walmart for a long time, but now it's owned by an oil company. So that's interesting.
I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot about the UK today.
Yeah, so it was only recently bought by this company, but it was basically used to be owned by Walmart. It's very similar to Walmart if you go in one of their stores, very similar layout, basically the same except from the colors. But yeah, they're one of the more less popular UK stores when it comes to the supermarkets. They're not exactly seen as the best. So.
Do y'all have a People of Asda page?
People of Asda? No, we don't.
Yeah, we have people of Walmart here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so apparently the
You've been
technology
dressing up all ways.
apparently the technology they want to sell to me is a toaster for a full £3 off. I mean, at that kind of price, who knows? Maybe you'll be able to do two
Hey,
pieces of toast.
If you've ever tried to
it's a high tech toaster. It has Bluetooth. It has a USB thing, and when the toast is done, it's like your toast is done, Sandro. Like it knows your name and everything. It's a high tech toaster.
But yeah, so apparently £3 off on a toaster. Great offer, clearly. But there's also apparently this air fryer, which is actually let me think here. That's actually about £19 off. So that's a bit of a better deal at £25. So if you're going to go for an air fryer. But let's not talk about air fryers. Let's actually get back to the main show here. Let's not bore everybody on the stream. So why don't we get into the main news and stop talking about Black Friday? Do you think that sounds like a plan?
Pretty racist, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, lay that news on us, boy.
Yeah, so let's get started first with the mobile news. So this is the iPhone section. So iPhone sales have apparently dropped when it comes to China's annual Singles Day sales. So in China, there's a bit of a unique sales day in China called Singles Day, also known as Double 11 because it happens on the 11th of the 11th. And yeah, so basically they sell stuff on that day. It's a day where you can buy stuff on all of the big retailers in China for quite heavily discounted prices. And of course, Apple are quite a big company in China. They try and sell stuff to the Chinese market because it's such a big demographic. However, apparently they saw a 4% drop over a year when it comes to Singles Day. Excuse me. When it comes to Singles Day sales. So basically, Chinese brands have been doing a lot better on these sales, and this will hurt Apple when it comes to the Chinese market if they can't sell on one of the biggest sales days in China. Yeah, so
Here's another thing to think about, Sandro. Maybe the side nets outside of the Foxconn factories are failing. Maybe that explains the 4% drop.
what you really think the people in the Foxconn factories are buying iPhones? Or maybe they're just not making as many. I don't know what you're trying to imply there. Anyway, let's not talk about people, the sad cases of people, deciding they want to take their own life. That's quite sad. Let's not do that. So let's continue onward to the next story. So iOS 17. Apple is apparently adding a new journal app, and they're saying this will release. This will come to iPhone before the end of the year, and it's apparently going to have some interesting features, so it will allow you to write journal entries, insert pictures, videos, and other content. So you'll be able to do a lot with it, apparently, and yeah, there seems to be some interesting features with this journaling app, and it's cool to see another in-house app from Apple to give users on iPhone a few more options when it comes to, journaling. However, you can also see this as Apple trying to roll out more applications, trying to kind of fight against the fact that their walled garden is kind of breaking down at the moment, with them implementing RCS, having to use USB-C, having to comply with all of this regulation, potentially even letting apps from outside the App Store onto iPhones in the EU. It's really not a good picture for Apple when it comes to, keeping their customers within the ecosystem, keeping them away from Android. So as they try and develop more applications to kind of integrate people into the Apple ecosystem, then maybe this is a new strategy they'll take. Maybe they'll try and make an app for even more stuff. But of course, Android phones don't really come with journaling. They only really come with a notes application. So I guess this is a bit of a more novel feature. Unless somebody can tell me differently.
It reminds me a lot of IBM back in the 90s when they introduced microchannel architecture after ISA became an industry standard. Oh.
Okay, so that is quite a long time ago, so it may as well, actually, it may as well be a novel feature, because, it's not really been much of a thing on mobile devices, having a application from the actual manufacturer, which allows you to journal, mainly just reminders and notes applications. So I guess this is an interesting update. Can you see any uses for this? Nobody can.
That's why it reminds me of MCA. So.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next story. So, the Samsung Galaxy S21 is getting One UI 6.0 with Android 14. So apparently this is rolling out to the S21. So if you have an S21, you can, use this update in Europe. And yeah, so this is quite a big update, adding a new version of Android to the S21, allowing you to use the latest version. So that's pretty cool. And overall, you'll just be able to get all of those features that Android 14 gives you. And yeah, with developers giving more commitment to updating software, it is cool to see them actually following through on some of their commitments, and also just supporting their phones for slightly longer. Anyway, moving on to the BSD news. So, of course, sometimes this is the Linux section, sometimes it's a BSD section. Today, it's the Linux and BSD section. So we're getting a bit of both this week. So this week, FreeBSD 14.0 has been released. So apparently, OpenSSH has been updated to the latest version, so has OpenSSL. Now FreeBSD supports up to 1024 cores on the AMD 64 and ARM 64 platforms. So the two big there, the two big CPU architecture platforms there. And now ZFS has been updated to OpenZFS release 2.2 with some performance upgrades there. And also, apparently there's now an experimental image of OpenBSD for AWS and Azure using ZFS. So that's pretty cool. So there's some big updates, some little updates here, and also some updates to support more cloud platforms with new features. So that's pretty cool. That's nice to see from the BSD side. Have any of you used BSD?
I don't believe so.
I can't say I have.
I've used BSD once in a VM. It was, I mean, unless you running a server or unless you feel good about running BSD and you want to, then I don't see much reason to, unless you really like it. But yeah, it's an alternative to Linux. It's a bit less supported than Linux, but of course, it's still an option. Coming out of Berkeley.
I wanted to try it. I finally got a desktop with half a dozen slots, so BSD, Full OS, Orc OS, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Farmer Josh here. I'll quit the chat here and then join it back just because you're breaking up for me. Is Farmer Josh breaking up for you, Mark?
I'm sorry.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's not me, maybe it's you. If it is, then, I can't really do much about that. Sometimes it's my end, sometimes it's somebody else's end, sometimes you just need to work that one out.
I have to watch how my voice connection is, so that'd be my bad.
Okay, so if you are breaking up a bit, then you can of course just put your stuff in the chat. So put it in the community live chat.
Must be executed. There's no choice.
Put the. Sorry, what did you say? Sorry, I just cut you up there. Oh yeah, I think I heard what you said. Let's move on to the Linux news. Do you want to do that, Mark?
Yeah. What are you up to?
So we're covering Endeavour OS. So Endeavour OS has now released a new version, the Galileo, I think it's Galileo, release. So there's some updates here, and if you update your system, it will, give you this latest version. It's a rolling release distro, so you'll be able to, I think it's rolling release, in fact it's Arch-based, so it probably is, so you'll be able to, use some of these new features if you update. So KDE Plasma is now replacing ZFC. Oh God, what am I saying? XFCE. Sorry, I had a kind of a moment there of insanity. So apparently, they're replacing KD. They're replacing XFS with what am I? Yeah, XFCE. What? I don't know how I'm screwing up this segment. XFCE with KDE Plasma as the live environment. So community editions will apparently not be available anymore as installation options. So you'll no longer be able to get open box releases or Sway releases or Qtile releases. All of those are going away through the installer now. Because apparently the original developers left the project and nobody wanted to pick up the work. So you can now only install them through the GitHub. So you can download them from the GitHub. So if you want to contribute, if you want to bring these alternative desktop environments and alternative tiling window managers and stuff to Endeavour OS as an option with the installer, then make sure to head on over to GitHub and head on over to those repos so you can actually have make a difference when it comes to Endeavour OS. But yeah, so now apparently they've removed SE Linux warnings just to avoid confusion during installation. So of course there are sometimes SE Linux warnings when it comes to stuff based on the Linux kernel. But they've removed those warnings maybe to not scare, certain users who might be novices. Not novices necessarily, but just they aren't really that well they haven't really looked too much into the way that Linux works, and they might be scared by such things popping up on their system. So that's probably a good update for certain more kind of more people who are more new to Linux. Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like innovative improvements there, so that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. I would say, Farmer Josh, if you're going to try Templar OS, I see you saying that in the chat. Also, head on over to Community Live chat. That's where the stuff that will actually show up on the Discord. Head on over there, because that's actually where you should probably be doing it. I don't know how we've ended up on the general chat doing the podcast. Really should be in the SL.
For that then.
Well, just head on over to the Community Live chat. You should be on it already. Why are you not? Can you not access it or something? Oh, you can, I think. Oh, you just.
I see now, but we're voice chat on your server.
Yeah. So you basically can't actually. You can't actually use the Discord integration with OBS to actually show chat built in to the voice chat, at least as far as I can tell. So I just had to set up that separate channel, so you do have to talk in a separate channel. Sorry for that small inconvenience.
Well, there's a channel showing right now, right, in the corner of your screen.
Yes. The channel showing in the side right now is the Community Live chat, so you can see some of the stuff, what Farmer Josh just said it, and what Farmer Josh just said, and Turbulent, and Mark. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the other news stories here. Yeah, so let's move on to the next story. So, why don't we cover the UK broadband news? So, in the UK, here's a big story. Sky has reached a wholesale broadband deal with Virgin Media in the Republic of Ireland. So, this is a pretty big deal because basically the Virgin Media network is closed off to wholesale purchases, so you can't just piggyback off the Virgin network and pay them for it. That's not a thing yet, although apparently they are going to roll that out in 2028, potentially. However, they have now announced that in Ireland, they will actually be opening up their network to Sky, so allowing Sky to take advantage of the fast Virgin Media fibre. So that's a pretty cool thing for consumers in Ireland. Maybe they'll now be able to have faster speeds on Sky. Given Virgin Media have some pretty fast full fibre speeds. So yeah. It's a pretty cool update for people in the Republic of Ireland. However, this does not appear to be affecting Northern Ireland, so for the Northern Irish viewers out there, this might not affect you. It doesn't affect the UK, I don't think, but it does affect people in the Republic. Okay, so moving on to the next story. So, so the broadband ISP PlusNet in the UK. So of course they're owned by BT, who owns EE and PlusNet. So they are testing IPv6 in a technical trial. So this will allow them to, of course, test out whether they can roll out this IPv6 technology to allow people to use IPv6 with their home networks. And of course, IPv6 is a newer IP assigning standard, and of course, because it's 64-bit, it's a lot better when it comes to, be able to assign more addresses and be able to assign, basically, an not infinite amount of addresses. We might eventually hit the limit of how many addresses you can use with IPv6, but it would take quite a long time, and a lot of devices. Who knows how many devices will be connected to the internet in the future? I can't really be predicting that. But yeah, but of course IPv6 is something that broadband networks and phone networks have been quite hesitant to adopt. They haven't really been adopting it, which I think isn't great, because of course IPv6 is, overall better than IPv4, and it's quite helpful to have. However, Virgin Media hasn't really rolled it out, neither have most of the UK providers of broadband, so I don't know about the situation in the US, but over here, it's not too great when it comes to IPv6. What do you think, Mark? Can you get IPv6 in the US? What broadband providers allow that? Do Comcast have IPv6? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I mean, I just pay for the service and go online. I'm not familiar with the intricacies of the services used and provided.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, the mini budget. I forgot about that one. That was if you don't remember that, then you probably didn't watch the community podcast back when it was the library community podcast. Had some fun doing that, and Lex was a good host, and he used to host the show. But now you've got me.
Yep, there we go. Oh man, that was the biggest surprise today. That to finding out what happened to LBRY and the community podcast. Like, oh my god, I checked their thing. Their last podcast was like 6 months ago, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I decided that because, of course, Lex wasn't going to continue on with this, and I kind of wanted to do the show. I thought, it's nice doing a community podcast on Fridays. It's nice to kind of let loose a bit, discuss tech news, discuss stories, and just hang out a bit. That's pretty fun, and, it's a cool opportunity to do so, and a cool opportunity for listeners to hear about the latest news. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next story here. Ofcom, apparently, this is a niche story, I don't like to shy away from talking about quite niche stories on my show, and this is an example. So Ofcom is apparently taking on regulation of premium rate phone numbers. So you might not have thought of premium rate phone numbers in a long time. Of course, that's mainly a thing that kind of died a death with the internet. Premium rate phone numbers are no longer that popular. People don't call premium rate numbers that much anymore. However, apparently the PRS is apparently... so basically the PSA's responsibilities to regulate the PRS. So basically that's the premium rate services. So their obligation to regulate that will be transferred to Ofcom. So they're currently consulting on this. However, it does show how Ofcom are taking more control when it comes to more dying out things, things that aren't as popular anymore. So this is an example of something that's kind of, died out with the internet. There's not really that many people using premium rate numbers anymore, but you still need to regulate them, and I suppose Ofcom will now have that responsibility. Do you guys have any thoughts? I mean, I don't know what. I think is it the FCC? That's kind of like your Ofcom almost. I think.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But
Yeah,
what these premium numbers is that like what, like 1-800 numbers or something?
Through the
it,
FCC.
it's like one. In the US, was it like 1-900 for premium rates again?
Oh yeah, those. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the old port numbers.
Not in the UK, there weren't as much that, to be honest. It depended a bit, but
Oh, that's all they were in the U.S. for the most part.
Weren't those the one that cost like, I don't know, $1 a minute and then like $2-3 each additional minute or some junk?
Yeah.
Phone sex. Yep.
I
Yeah,
was a kid back then. I don't hear. I mean, back then you had those commercials all the time, but I don't remember that stuff nowadays. I think that stuff got phased out, right?
yeah. Well, basically with the internet, of course,
Basically, yeah.
yeah. And so, of course, with this limited responsibility, maybe they're going to transfer it to the main regulator just to handle the small bits. So that's Ofcom, of course. And, Ofcom regulate most of the telephones and telecoms space, as well as broadband. So it makes sense that they're getting assigned this responsibility. However, if you are currently running a premium rate phone number, I know how many people running phone numbers there are in this audience, running some sort of weird chat line or whatever.
Well, we do have the that Sandro ASMR phone number,
but yeah, so basically it's a very niche use case, premium rate phone numbers. But yeah. I mean, can you think of any use really? Like,
not really. Not like you said, the internet kind of took care of all that,
Yeah, that's.
But hey, you never know, man. If we need to pay the bills, it's like, well, hello, ladies. If you want some companionship, please call 1-800 Mark Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's like what? Yeah, it won't cost you $25 per minute.
Oh God.
Only $24.99 a minute.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Put that penny back in your piggy bank. There you go.
Yeah, so
Gotta account for inflation here.
Bittrex. So Bittrex has shut down. Not shut down. They're shutting down. So this is bad news for those people using Bittrex. For a long time, it had LBC on there. So if you were a library fan, then you would have used Bittrex most likely, unless you use CoinX. However, all trading activity will halt on the 4th of December. And yeah, they've already filed for bankruptcy, and they're winding down all operations after they shut down their US arm.
There's news with that too. I don't know if you've gotten those emails. They've been sending out, like, these fraud people have been sending out these fake emails based on, I guess, like some court case that Bitrex is going through, and they're kind of trying to find out about you. And of course, you got like links, and if you click on those, which I advise you not to, that's how to get your information and stuff. And then we got an official email from Bitrex themselves telling y'all to like avoid those emails. So that has been going on the last couple of months.
Yeah, that's definitely something to watch out for then. That's something that, yeah, so make sure you watch out for those emails. Don't end up falling
Don't
for
click on any
something to do
links
with
or
that.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I tried to get into Bitrex back then, but I just couldn't figure it out. I mean, CoinX and StealthX are like 10 times easier. I can't figure out Bitrex, but just because I signed up with them, like they got my email, and the spammers were sending me these fake emails about like the court case and compensation or whatever else.
Yeah, that sounds like some pretty scammy behavior, but of course, it's what the, scammers like to do. They like to scam.
Yeah.
So, watch out for that. And yeah, just be vigilant when it comes to Bittrex emails. Make sure it's an official email and, double check.
Yeah, because they try to make it scary. Like, I don't fall for it, but they try to make it sound like anyone involved, any Bitrex users in trouble, like they'll come for you because you use Bitrex. But like, that's not true. That's all fake.
Yeah, Yeah, people trying to scare you over email, usually not really. Most of the time, it's scammers. Unless, you know direct connection to it. Like. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it on the tech news front. I think we have covered the stories. Anything anybody wants to plug?
Hey, I have a tangential connection to Bittrex here.
Oh.
That used to be an additive for ethylene glycol antifreeze to make it taste bitter instead of sweet.
Well,
What?
What? That is weird. Like, why would you be...
Yes.
Why? Just why, mate?
Because like dogs and cats and stuff, if you drained out antifreeze, they would lick it up because it tasted sweet.
Oh my. Damn.
But they would add next to it to keep like kids, dogs, and cats and stuff from licking it up.
Well, that's a useful function to stop people from killing, basically, doing that.
And Bittrex was the name of that additive.
Uh-huh.
Just have one less T in it.
But yeah, so... Yeah, but apart from that, does anybody have anything they want to shout out? Anything they want to plug? Any stuff?
Nothing I can say on YouTube.
Oh, we're still on YouTube. I'm under Video Game Masters 09. I'm also under Mark's Unboxing Zone, where Video Game Masters is like a collection of video game reviews, gameplay, movie reviews, book reviews, all the nerd geek stuff. And the Unboxing Zone is just unboxing different boxes here and there. And for OBRY, we're still on the VGM Geek Portal, which is also stuff like that, and the Gamer Cauldron Show. And apparently, my understanding is even though what happened with LBRY Inc. is going down, the actual Odysee will still be around as long as people are still using it, because it's kind of a peer-to-peer thing, I think, with the blockchain and all that.
I mean,
so yeah, I will continue to make more videos on that channel until the bitter end, I guess, which was hopefully not, right? They're looking for buyers or something.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking
the library
for...
network itself, it'll stick around kind of like Nutella has. I really think so.
Except, yeah, it'll probably end up being a bit zombified in a way, and without the hub servers, who knows what's going to happen to content discovery. Going to be very hard there. And it makes
you say it's zombified, Sandro. The last time I tried giving you the audio backup to the Library Foundation Community Podcast through Nutella, 22 people downloaded that before I took it down.
Well, those 22 people, they can enjoy it. All those random people, that is pretty cool. So yeah, so well done, Farmer Josh. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Check out the Discord server at sandrolinux.com/discord. If you want to chat, if you want to talk about your project, if you want to talk about whatever is going on, then you can join in the Discord. You can DM me if you have any interesting project or anything, and you want to, get an interview. I'll be happy to ask you some questions. And yeah, so sandrolinux.com/discord. And, of course, if you're on the Discord, you can check out my YouTube. That's sandrolinux.com/YouTube. Or sandrolinux.com/Odysee if you want to find my Odysee. Now...
I just have a last question before we all leave, though. This Bittrex thing, this court case, is that what's leading to their bankruptcy and everything, and they're just shutting down?
I'm not totally sure on the kind of finer details of this story. I think the court case is related to their shutdown, though. As in, I'm pretty sure they've just ended up bankrupt, so, not able to cover the expenses. So yeah, so they'll just have to shut down, and, make sure if you're on Bittrex, make sure to take your money out. Yes. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share.